There we go. What in the hell was that? Hello, can you hear me? Good. It's working. It's working. It's working. Okay. Hi. So welcome to the channel. Welcome to the stream. I'm Schizoid Angst, and I'm here to ramble about some stuff in my head today because the last, like I said, month and a half has been pretty rough for me. So I've been too preoccupied during the day, especially to think about like a good question. And so when I can't think of a good question, I don't want to like force it. I don't want to just like make one up for the sake of having one. So I couldn't really this week, so I just didn't. It would just be silly for me to like, I don't know, just force it. So I don't. Hopefully I can get something next Wednesday that I feel would be good for the Saturday after that. But for those of you that maybe are disappointed or bothered by the fact that I did not do it, or that's what you tuned in for before, my apologies. I will improve on that. It's just once my life situation improves a little bit, I will probably have less things in my mind so that I can think about things that actually, I don't know, matter to me when it comes to this, like, that I can say that I feel are valuable enough to ask or important enough to me. I've tried, I think, once or twice in the past where I kind of like forced a question and it ended up going very poorly, or it just wasn't right. So, updates, get the boring part out of the way. So let's see here. I have switched over from Adderall for the ADHD. I am now taking Vyvanse. Today's my second day of Vyvanse. I took Adderall for about a month. It was basically doing nothing. It felt like I drank a cup of coffee in the morning. And I'm guessing because caffeine doesn't work for me. Caffeine just makes me nauseous and tired, and jittery. So I'm guessing that's what a cup of coffee is supposed to feel like. You know, you feel awake in the morning or something. And so yeah, that's how Adderall felt. And then they upped my dosage, and it just felt a little bit like more of that. But it just wasn't doing anything. Like, it wasn't doing anything for my attention span. It wasn't doing anything for my kind of like feeling like occasional lethargy and stuff. It wasn't doing anything for like the more ADHD symptoms, which is weird because, you know, that's the one a lot of people use. So I'm trying Vyvanse now. And let's see. I think it's working somewhat. I haven't quite, but it feels like I have a little more focus during the day with the Vyvanse. But I don't know quite yet. We'll see. We'll see how that turns out. Hopefully well. Alright, that's the boring part. The other boring part is if you end up liking the stream or want to see more of it, please support me on Patreon, blah, 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 blah. I also put a link to Coffee account if you're on the server, along with the post for the stream. Some people like that one better. They think it's like more ethical than Patreon or whatever, but it's there if anybody's interested. Anything helps. Okay. So, why the title, right? Why are people like this? There's a couple of reasons I've been thinking about, or a couple of things that I was thinking about that make me go like, okay, like, am I the baddie? Right? Am I, and I know there's people out there that would say yes when I describe what I'm talking about, but, by the way, is the audio coming through okay? Or am I just like, does it sound bad or something? Because it was weird that my microphone was being strange. I'd like to get some kind of confirmation just in case. That's okay. But hopefully it is. It's actually pretty slow for a Saturday. Usually at least 5 or 6 people here at this point. But I don't know. But anyway, so what I mean by this question is this weird feeling of seeing a lot of people in various positions or stations in life that would be considered, I don't know, um, higher status, more influential, uh, socially, like, important, and financially important, fiscally important, whatever. Like, making, like, really, really strange decisions that are based, or they're predicated upon the very things that kind of made me feel really disconnected from people growing up. Right. Good. Thank you, Don. Appreciate that. So, it's weird for me to see people, like, know people within my local life, or the life I've led in the past when I had more people around me. I don't as much anymore, except for the people I want around me, which is my wife and kids. And I remember those feelings of, like, why are people making these decisions? Like, to me, obviously as a younger Zoid, I would think stuff like, well, why is everything based on, like, emotion, making all these terrible decisions because they feel this so strongly and they feel that so strongly, but so on and so forth. And it's like, why don't they feel just as strongly about things that, in my mind, my naive mind as a 20-something-year-old, I thought they matter more. They're more important. But I still struggle with that, right? In a much more nuanced way. I see decisions being made because of all these kind of, I guess, more well understood psychological reasons for why people are so often motivated by certain things. Is my stream, like, bad? Is the quality bad? Because I saw a huge drop. And usually when that happens, it's because I got DC'd or something. Damn it. Hopefully that's not the case. It's weird. I don't have any slowdown internet-wise. So frustrating. Alright, looks like some people are coming back. I hope it's not just my stuff on my end, I hope. Because everything seems fine on my end, but I don't know, YouTube Lives. So does OBS. Okay, so, like, stuff that I would see when I was, like, in, like, high school, right? Stuff, the way people behave, the things that people get preoccupied with, in-group, out-group stuff, and, like, all these sort of things, a lot of tribalistic things, that over the years I've kind of come to terms with, right? I've kind of come to terms that, like, this is the reality for, like, the vast majority of the population. They're very motivated by these things, right? And in my mind, I was like, okay, well, at least for some people, I guess, are considered, arrested development or whatever. Some people move on from, like, their social connections and their social motivations that they had in something like high school. Right? People's motivations, although surrounding kind of most of the time surrounding these, like, social components and interactions and back and forth, in some cases they become more complex, right? They become more nuanced. Maybe that's why they say, like, when people get older they get more mellow. I think that's kind of like their experience wearing them down, because they're already very aware of decisions that they made, right, throughout the years, and so they start kind of developing their own kind of metacognition regarding the social environment, what it really means and what really matters, and stuff like that, like, loved ones and things like that. And as they get older, oftentimes they kind of stop caring about, like, how cool people think they are, how successful people think they are, right? And then some people, they don't really get past that. As someone that didn't really, that had my own kind of immaturity and my own kind of naive thinking when I was a teenager and in 20s, that wasn't really focused on that at all. But it was like a different kind of like, I don't know. I guess I would say it was kind of like a little bit of like a kind of more pretentious kind of like you know, I thought like, oh well, everyone's stupid because they do these things, right? And now, obviously, as I got older and had more experience, now I'm 40, and I'm just like, no, not everybody's not stupid. It's just that there's a lot of things that essentially you don't quite understand. I understand intellectually, but I don't understand as far as emotion goes, except for a few things like fatherhood and being a husband. But even then, my interpretations of that kind of stuff can often be pretty idiosyncratic. So the reason this has kind of been eating at me recently is because I know this is going to sound stupid, it's going to sound silly, but in the last few months, I've been paying closer attention to some of the goings-on with, you know, public figures. I used to like when I was more into politics and stuff, when I was a bit younger, I used to kind of focus on like things like legislation, decision making, kind of like the way stuff would roll out, and more philosophical ideas about like how to govern, blah blah blah, things like that. That's kind of what I was interested. Oh, my daughter's here. Say goodnight. Hold on. One sec. All right, come here, baby.
It's your daughter.
Oh, it's okay.
You're a spooky guy?
Yeah.
You like that weird
girl? Yeah. All right, go to bed. You look cute. Go to bed. Get some good sleep, okay?
I would not mind to buy that.
I know, but it's fine. All right, go. Night night. Open the door.
My tummy hurts.
I'm sorry, baby. You gotta go poop. Go poop. Okay, close the door, please. Good night. Yeah. Anyway, I'm back. So, you'll get used to that if you keep watching my streams. It happens like at least once. My daughter goes to bed and I say goodnight, because she's more important than any of you or the stream, so, to me. In any case, I've been kind of like paying attention to the people themselves more, you know, be it politicians or public figures, actors of various, I don't know, celebrity status, you know, billionaires and millionaires and whatever, right? There's a couple that are standing out right now that I find fascinating, crazy. One of which is, you know, if you've been following some of the stuff out there, a couple of things have happened. One that's probably pretty popular right now, for sure, is the Elon Musk situation, right? Now, I've never been interested in this guy. I was interested in some of the stuff he was doing. There was a couple of videos along a couple of years that were kind of funny. I never really thought he was funny or interesting, but that's just me, right? I just didn't find him funny or interesting. I think the greatest thing I ever saw him involved in, like, I guess, like, as far as, like, that I found, like, entertaining to watch, was some time where he was looking at, like, messed up memes, and he was, like, he started laughing like crazy because there was a meme with a dead deer, like, in a pool, but it was, like, photoshopped, I'm guessing, and it said, like, my dog is being weird, or something like that, some stupid shit like that, I can't remember, and it was just, like, some absurd shit, and he was just fucking cackling. That was probably, like, the only thing I remember that I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. He doesn't seem so bad as a person, I guess. But I never really dug into him much. I was probably sometimes interested in his interactions with people, and then his kind of like his decision making when it comes to stuff like SpaceX was interesting and things like that. And I know there's like always back and forth about his political views, stances. But I never did anything to like learn more about, the man, I guess. And I'm not gonna sit here and like do like a fucking tell you. It's not a time length. I'm gonna start telling you like how he started and blah blah blah. Like no. It's just. Plus, I just got to like learn a bit about this stuff because it became interesting when I saw a few things happen. When I say the Elon Musk situation, I'm talking about the one with a very very famous cockroach king streamer known as Asmongold. It's funny because I used to, speaking of that whole thing about people mellowing out with a bit of age, even Asmongold, I remember years ago I would like occasionally catch stuff and I thought he's obnoxious, or he's just like this or that. And then I guess I've been coming across his more recent stuff, and I don't agree with everything he says, but man, he's definitely more mellow. And I think, like I said, it's just experience, age, all this sort of stuff. But the controversy is that Elon Musk faked having a Path of Exile 2 account. Well, he had an account, but that he faked that he was the one that was playing the game, and he was like this like high-ranking player and all this sort of stuff. Right? It was just like completely red-handed. He streamed it. It was clear to everyone that knows anything about the game, especially like the big names on YouTube that talk about the game amongst that kind of niche sort of thing. They were just like picking it apart, not because not minutia, but it was more like just fundamentals that anybody that I guess had contributed even half the time that it would take, or a quarter of the time that it would take to get to the level and have the gear that supposedly he had in his account, would easily already like have known. Like they literally could not have gotten to that point without knowing that information. And so it was clearly fake. He was clearly pretending to be something he wasn't. Right? It was very pathetic. Because not because like it would already be very like, I mean, I would consider it pretty fucking lame if anybody did that. Right? Like that's just bad on its own. But I think what makes it so potent is that we're talking about somebody that, via like most social understandings of what would be like more normie society, he is a high status individual, and within the rules and priorities that the conventional person oftentimes, especially if we're talking like that are interested in ideas like becoming rich one day themselves and shit like that, that's like that's the guy that you're like, oh my god, it's the richest man on earth. And this is what boggles my mind more. It's like, okay, and I'll get to the point of why it's like infested my mind. He goes through, like, he does all the things he does. Obviously, he's not a complete moron, right? He wouldn't be able to get to it. That's the thing. Being a genius at business does not make you a genius at everything. And I think that's something that the media especially has a lot of trouble understanding. Like, wow, you're really, really smart when it comes to something business related or managing like something. But then, like, they just assume that means that they're intelligent at everything. And no. And so what bothered me, one, was how somebody can attain this level and still have this like incredibly fragile ego. Right? To attain the equivalent of status-wise godhood and still be in possession of a of like a teenage kid that wants to impress his buddies that like the stuff he likes. Like, the fact that that's still being held onto, considering everything they've accomplished, is disheartening. Because, and I'll go into further why it is. Not because I give a shit about him. It's not why it's disheartening. I don't at all. I give a shit about what it means, right? And I know, so that's what I do. It means that the system, or it reminds me that the system that they've constructed for themselves, or the systems they've constructed for themselves, that in which one would attain high status or be, considered a great man, it's just so faulty. Incredibly rich, incredibly influential, has been married to or dated various attractive women. What else? Powerful in many ways. Famous. One of the most famous people on earth. These are like big things that he is, according to what society often seems to be very much, constructed around. And still it's not enough. So then I think maybe these rewards are just faulty to begin with. These priorities, these ideas. Would someone like Elon Musk be happier if he wasn't a tech billionaire, but that he was incredibly good at video games? I don't know enough about him to make that call, but like what if instead of having a knack for business and investment and knowing where to put money into what tech and about going taking risks and then reaping rewards and stuff, let's just say instead of their genius in that category of how to become a billionaire, because I don't think he RNG'd all into it all. That's absurd. But there is RNG at play, obviously. There always is in everything. Oh, this is loud. Let me lower that. There we go. Okay, so sorry if there's any noise in the background. Just, my daughter probably not behaving. Going crazy. But in any case, yeah, there has to be something up with this shit in general. Like, where did we go wrong? And some people might just say, oh, it's because capitalism. I think it's a little bit more than that, but you know how I be about this sort of stuff. I take it a little further. Hold on. How long was I muted? How long have I been muted? Because I just noticed. I don't know if I pressed it just now or a little bit ago or... Oh, please don't tell me I was muted the whole time. Or how long was it? I saw it blinking and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I wasn't muted? That's weird. Okay. Then I must have pressed it by accident at some point. Anyway, so yeah. Um, would he have been happier being a genius gamer if he was the best WoW player? He was like the best PoE player, or ARPG player, Diablo player. That's why. I'm not gonna tell you who it is, but it's just people in the house. Anyway, that's done, I think. So yeah. Would he have been happier? The best Magic the Gathering player, or something of that, like revered amongst the nerddom, and I'm part of it. So I'm not throwing shade. What if he was like like this prodigy at that? Would he have had a happier life? That he would essentially like. And you might think, oh, that's crazy. It doesn't affect anything. I think it's bullshit. That he would impact his like the way people perceive him, which is like, it's always been like, you really like people really like him or people really hate him, right? That's kind of always been sort of the dynamic, and people that are interested in him. But this sort of stuff would make somebody that is kind of going like, yeah, I like what he's doing and this and that, just feel like, oh wow, what if that's fucking lame. Like that's weird. Did they just think like that's something I wouldn't, because I'm just not about that shit. But and then I'm a Zoid, so I've never been about a lot of shit. But like, some people might say, wow, that's something I would have done like when I was like 21 or 20, like to impress a girl or something, or boy, to impress anybody that is a peer, like, lie about how good you are at something. It's like a sitcom, it's like an episode of Seinfeld or something, where like George Costanza says like, oh, I'm an architect, and then he fucking fakes it, and then eventually, like, he gets in a situation where he has to be an architect, and he can't be, right? Because he's not. But that's George Costanza. That's like a clown of a character. And people make these kinds of decisions, but obviously in the case of a character like on Seinfeld or any show, right, which you've seen the trope, right, where somebody like pretends they're something they're not, and then they get caught. Ooh, and all hell breaks loose or whatever for them, and then they have to like apologize and shit. That's how cartoonish the shit is to me. The way he made the decision to even go about doing this, and the reasons the reasons I could just assume, because I'm not inside their brain, assume they did it, which is because they want to look cool amongst like their fellow nerds or something. That's George Costanza levels of insecurity. Like, that's fucking hilarious, but just alarming. This is an individual that has influence upon millions of lives. And furthermore, right? And when I'm talking about this, think about it like in the context of kind of what I was discussing, like, but prior to that, it wasn't just that they did something so just, I can't think of a better word, because it's like just so sad. It's such a sad and insecure thing to do for a man his age that has accomplished, whether you like it or not, everything they've accomplished. And I wonder, like, are they like this with everything they say they're good at? Do they just constantly exaggerate themselves? Is their greatest power the gift of gab? And another step is the utter incompetence in which he attempted to do this. That's another weird thing. Right? Like, he could have easily just had, like, here, like if we want to get really crazy, right? If he needed, like, if he already had someone that he got him boosted, and by the way, whoever boosted him must have been a god tier player, because that, or, I don't know, like, the people that developed PoE backdoored him some shit, because, like, the only way to get to where he was with the gear he has is, like, you have to be, like, he had stuff that, like, nobody has. He had stuff that people at his, at that level, or at that, are like, holy shit. How does he have this stuff? Oh, it does? It sounds weird? Okay, let me fix it. I had a feeling that my mic is being, like, stupid. The quality's probably absolute dog shit, then. Hold on. I can fix this really quick. Yeah, for some reason, like, my microphone isn't actually appearing. There we go. Hello. Is that better? That should improve it. Is that much better? No. It sounds kind of like old radio. Is it? I like old radio sound. Should I be doing that? I've always liked that aesthetic. But okay, does it sound normal now, or does it still sound funks? So I can keep rambling. I'm just yapping, guys. I'm a yapper. Some of the stuff I say might be not yapping. I might know a thing or two, and there are other things I'm just yapping, because that's what I do. I'm just rambling. It's more my, like, chance to get some of this stuff out. And so anyway, it's the same one. Okay, well, this is the audio you're getting today, because I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna have to fix it later. I'm not gonna waste time, like, thinking about it right now. So sorry if the audio is shit. Anyway. Oh man, does that mean, like, everything was coming through from out there? That's hilarious. Like, people, like, yelling and stuff. Anyway. Yeah, there's a couple of family members and stuff. Not just, like, my wife and kids, but, like, other people that live here. Anyway, as well. Yeah, I'm gonna look at it. But I don't want, like, outside audio. It's it's still using the noise suppression, but whatever. It's probably not as good on whatever it is that I'm talking into. Maybe my monitor or, like, my camera. I have no idea what has another microphone. He's just one douchebag among many. Yes, they do all appear to be overcompensating everything that most disturbed people on the planet are running it. Yeah. But it's the utter incompetence in which he went about it. Like, if you wanted to do it smart, all you would need to do is stream it. You don't even have to show, like, your face, and then have somebody else playing it while you talk. But even then, the stuff he was saying, not just how he was playing, was completely showing that he's bullshitting. So that might not work. But that's another thing. If you wanted to make it work, right, then you would watch streams in which, you know, the pros or whatever this game talk about this stuff. You would read up on how the game works, what the mechanics at a high level are, so that you can kind of, like, at least be able to, like, comment while someone else is playing or something, like proficiently, you know. And then if he doesn't have anything to say, he could just use the excuse of, like, oh, I was just really focused, like, I'm trying to, like, and, you know, obviously whoever boosted his account is, like, playing like a madman, like, really good, and people will be like, there'd be like this thing, even if he didn't show video, there'd be like this thing where you know, people would say like, "Oh, that's bullshit. He's not showing himself because he's not really the one playing." But you can't. That's like enough plausible deniability to where like people could go, "No, it was him playing. You're just a hater." Blah blah blah. Right? If he was going to go about like bullshitting this. So not only is what he's doing really really fucking sad, but the way he did it was highly incompetent. And it was funny because there was people that like went back and looked at another time when he was playing games, which was like Diablo 4. And the joke Asmongold had said is that that game's so easy compared to something like PoE 2 that you can give somebody like a boosted account and they'd be able to play it and look like they're killing it, or they know what they're doing because like it's nowhere near as kind of nuanced as Path of Exile 2. And so people were going back looking at that footage and going like, oh, they're doing closer inspection and they're like, I think he's bullshitting playing this Diablo 4 account. Like I think even this is bullshit. And one of the other like times he played video games publicly like that, you know, I'm Elon Musk playing video games. One of the other famous or popular internet time is when he played Elden Ring. In more recent times, he played Elden Ring, but when he played Elden Ring, it looked more like he was the one playing it. And the joke, the meme at the time was that his build sucked. Like he had a shitty build. Like people were like, "Man, your build is shit. Like, get a better build. Holy crap!" Like, right? But they're being dicks. You know, the internet. People are dicks on the internet. And I don't know if that was enough. That was enough to make him go, next time I'm gonna show them. I'm gonna make them think I'm a big boy. There is no bad press. Yeah, but this is what's crazy about it. This isn't like just bad press as in like he said something crazy and wacky and then people can defend it. This is like lame on all fronts. People are obviously thinking about this extra layer that I'm talking about, but even if they're not thinking about it, something in the back of their mind is just going to go, wow, what a loser. And he got caught. Even lamer. Like that's... And like I know, like I said, I'm jumping steps because I'm schizoing it up, but like it makes you think like, what else does this kind of fragility impact? Like, you know, people act like he's playing 4D chess and stuff. They always say that about these people, right? They have a lot of money. Oh, they're playing 4D chess. Yeah, I don't think any of them are. But I definitely don't feel... If I had any doubt, I don't feel like he is. So is it RNG? Aggressiveness? An ability to influence people through gab? Charisma? What is it? Or maybe a genius at managing people and then taking the credit? I have no idea. But to have a shitty Elden Ring build, people flame you for it, and then your reaction is, instead of like you reacting to like, I don't give a shit what people think. I realize I don't have hobbies, only bad habits to pass time. Yeah, I've been there, civil protection officer. But yeah, like, what am I supposed to do with that information? It's absurd. And it makes me obviously question even further everything from what societal norms to what our entire economy and political system and state run system and various forms of government. Like I mean, it just feels more and more like just a bad joke, a really bad joke. And if this occurrence doesn't impact people in any significant way as to their belief in Elon, or even people that want to invest money into him, their assurance that he's playing 4D chess. Don't worry, these investments are safe and sound. Like the fact that that's not even being thought about. Somebody will just say, "Oh, it's because you're mentally ill that you're thinking about these things." And then I just go, so thinking about things and things that I think have some rational merit, some logic, some sound logic mixed in there, is considered, is this mental illness? And it wasn't just him either. This is something that's been it's been happening more often. Kind of like growing up and realizing adults were just winging it the whole time. Yeah, now the kings and nobles are clowns. There's nobody really steering the ship. Yeah, it's just... Well, they are steering it. They're just steering it to fucking rocks and shit like that. Like, I cannot... That's what's so baffling. I cannot imagine myself in a position where I have worked so hard to accomplish something like SpaceX, Tesla, Starlink, and then care about looking cool in front of the nerds that you were worried about when you were like a fucking teenager. How do you accomplish all this and there's no growth? And better yet, how is it that a person that hasn't developed this level of growth is so eagerly rewarded by the civilization we've created? It's absurd. Another example, so I don't just go on and on about the Elon thing, is Neil Gaiman. It's gross. There's more stuff coming out, more corroboration and stuff. It was like, it's a Variety, Vulture, whatever. Wrote like a fucking, I don't know, it was like 30 fucking pages or something, talking about all this heinous shit that Neil Gaiman was up to. And there's so much in it, and there's so many people involved, and there's people that are coming up to bat, and there's even more stuff, whatever. I know there's a lot of he said, she said, but my God, this isn't like, oh, somebody's getting accused of I don't know, being too, or using their power to just get sex or something, right? This is beyond just trying to get sex. This is like very specific fetishes and sado or sadism. Honestly, there's some sadomasochism kind of shit going on too. And And then you go back and you like, there's like big fans, huge fans of the work. I mean, the guy's like a titan of literary work. He's like up there with fucking like Stephen King. Like, I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say Neil Gaiman has impacted fiction as much as Stephen King. People's childhoods were steered by some of his work because, you know, he was just so influential. And now people are going back and looking at some of his work and they're like, oh man. They were just enamored by the good writing, but they're like, that's weird. And it's confusing because, like, there's all kinds of like moral and ethical conundrums of varying depth, but decent depth, that have been explored in some of his work. Things that you would assume an individual who had written it would have a very, very strong sort of cognitive empathy. Like they're putting out this message of these sort of things through these characters and these ideas. They're exploring, you know, the human psyche in a variety of ways. What it means to be a person. And then it comes out that they were like, allegedly, just a rapey creep. Yeah, and I've seen a few videos of like long-time older fans. People like, not just people like, oh, they're in their 20s. Oh my God, Neil Gaiman, oh, he's my favorite. No, like people like in their, you know, 40s and 50s talking about it and just being like so utterly just disheartened. Like some of them, like these stories that he wrote, like influenced their own like moral or ethical systems as they developed them growing up as, you know, 20 something. When, you know, his earlier works were around. And imagine like building up some part of yourself on the ideas of like something an author wrote that had such an impact on you. But then finding this out. It's troubling. It's troubling. But again, although not as egregious, because Elon may be really, really kind of sad for what he did. Neil Gaiman's, if even half of it is true, is a goddamn monster. But again, it brings up the same thing. High status individual, very high status, money, influence within his realm of interest, which is literature. He was the type of guy that like other authors would think, man, that guy's shit don't stink. And he had so many fucking skeletons in his closet, and we talk about why that may be. A lot of their own trauma. That none of that was enough. None of that was enough. People strive. People, like regular people that do care about status in their field, profession, fame in what they do, or acknowledgement in what they do by, you know, greater society. People would want, people like ruin their lives. People fight tooth and nail to get a fraction in the world, I guess, of literature, to get a fraction of the acknowledgement a guy like Neil Gaiman had. Or Gaiman, whatever. He had what they wanted exponentially, almost. And it wasn't enough. According to the allegations, like I said, if you want to read a nice 30 pages of horrible shit. Have fun. According to all this sort of stuff, a lot of the stuff was gross. Just a lot of like, I want to have domain and power over your body, and I'm your like master and shit. Which I have no problem with that stuff. But without, like, with this like fucked up, no consent, semi-consent, you know what I'm talking about, right? It's that bullshit where people are like, if you, one of the greatest fucking writers, American writers, or whatever, rolls up, and you're like a person that's trying to get into a certain industry, and this person has the connections to make that happen. The level of coercion there. Because they also have the power to destroy any life you had planned on having in that industry. They don't just have the power. People just think about the opportunistic stuff, right? They're like, well, they did it because, they wanted the benefits of it. Of doing what this guy wanted, said, whatever. So they're kind of like, bleh, bleh, bleh. What if what motivates them is less what this person can give them and more what this person can take from them? It's like putting a gun to the head of your future prospects in something that you care deeply for. And look, I don't care them like about a lot of this stuff that motivates people, like sort of status stuff and all that, because I'm mentally ill, so or neurodivergent, so whatever. Maybe it's a combination. I have no idea. I think it's just because of the neurodivergence. I don't think it's because I'm mentally ill. But imagine someone putting a gun to the head of your dreams. Someone you looked up to. And Gaiman didn't just have his hand in literature. It was like the comic book industry. It was like fashion. It was like he was a big swinging dick of art and writing. He could have fucking hooked you up with almost anything. But he could also take away everything. You could get easily like just blackballed. Just make some bullshit up about you, how you're like really hard to work with, and you're pretentious and ridiculous, and we can't work with this person is awful. Like, just they could make anything up about you, and because of what greater society values, they'll just eat it up. They're not going to ask questions. They're not going to be like, prove it, Neil Gaiman, that this person you say is really low talent and shitty. A shitty person that we shouldn't work with. Prove it. Prove it that that's... They're not going to say that. He's Neil Gaiman. He's Elon Musk. He's, whoever you want to throw in there. Steve, the great late Steve Jobs. He's Bill Gates. He's the Pope. He's the president. He's the great top singer. She's like the whatever. They are the fucking thing. And it's like people's brains just shut off more when that's the case. And it's just fucking tragic. It's so crazy. But yeah. Yeah. Then it makes you wonder how many of these people have equal, like, because because what my thought is, but I'm very, very pessimistic, and my thinking about other people is very cynical. I'm not going to deny that. I have to check myself when it comes to that so often. But my first thought when the Gaiman thing came out, the Neil Gaiman thing came out, was, well, I read it and I was just like, Jesus Christ. And, but then my thought was, because people are going to start, dropping him, like, left and right, I'm sure, because of this. Right? But my thought is, I think the only reason they drop him is because he got found out. He got told on. He got caught. And then all the other fucking monsters in various degrees of high status and the construction that we live under all thought, keep your head down. They found out about Gaiman. They found out about him. Keep your head down. Low profile. What do we do? Oh, denounce him. Say he's awful. Call him disgusting. Cancel his projects. Keep your head down. Do you want them to find out about your shit? Do you want them to find out about what you did? What I do? Can't have that. Gaiman's out. Gaiman's out. Pass the word. Gaiman's out. It seems like if someone gets to a high enough status, they're more a symbol or a memorial statue than a person. It's fascinating but morbid. Yeah, well, of course. Yeah, it's weird. It's funny, like, I can't imagine admiring a single individual so much that I would, like, put them on that much of a pedestal. Worship another person like that for reasons like that. That's just baffling. I couldn't do it when I was a kid. Can't do it now. The first one that was presented to me was God. And even as a child, I thought, what the fuck is that? I saw him as a scary figure, not a benevolent one. Even though they were telling me that God was benevolent, I was like, I'm reading some of the stuff that you guys are telling me. This is not a nice person. This guy's in charge of everything. That's what I did. That's what I thought as a kid. Wait, this God guy with these stories? Because, like, I would read, like, a kid's version. I'm like, these stories are crazy. Like, they're scary. This guy's in charge of everything? He's the boss? That's scary. There's usually a blackmail component to these exposés. Someone used something and needed reminding to shut up. Think Epstein and yeah, of course. I mean, that's how Epstein supposedly made all his money, just giving a bunch of sick fucks a bunch of sick shit, and then getting it on camera and being like, "This shit's going in the vault, but better keep sending them checks. Otherwise, someone's anonymously gonna leak this shit." You don't want that, do you? Honestly, I know, like I said, I'm so conspiratorial minded, but my conspiracies are not based on, like, the evil cabal. My conspiratorial thinking is based upon, like, the darkness of the human heart. The darkness of the systems we've created and the corruption that's been fed into everything because of that. Feeding into that darkness of the human soul, being, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Whatever you think. Psychology, brain, inability to rewrite the code in our, like, thoughts. Or some shit. I don't know. Some kind of... I'm not deterministic about that kind of stuff. I'm not determinist, so. But yeah, like, it's so we're like, I mean, I guess a simple message to anybody listening. So I doubt Zoids do much of this, but It's not don't meet your heroes. It's don't have heroes. Don't have heroes. Heroes are in books. Heroes are in stories and books. I think that notion of a hero is really cool. It's a symbol. Don't have heroes. Have people you respect based on certain parameters. Have individuals that you appreciate for their actions. Sometimes their words. Don't have heroes. Especially not in that world. In the world of status, fame, fortune. No siree. No heroes there. At best, just people. Well, I'll be more generous. At best, kind people mixed in there. At worst, I guess the human equivalent to a fucking fictional demon. You don't need to search for the fucking devil. That's the one thing that some ideas I agree with on a, even if you want to go just metaphorical level. The devil isn't here. It's always been there. The devil's always been with you. Some people worship that devil. There's an old book, if you've never read it, I highly suggest it, called Ordinary Men. Good read. It's one of those books that if you took any like college history courses or something, like they often especially if we're talking like upper, like toward wanting to go into masters, it's one of those books that it's pretty often hey, we're going over, read this book this week kind of book. Ordinary Men. Or no, Ordinary Men? Is it Ordinary Men? I might be fucking up the title. Let me see. I'm so bad at remembering titles and stuff. So bad. Yeah. Ordinary Men. Reserve Police Battalion. 101 and the Final Solution. That's one of those less popular. Still pretty damn popular for people that are into the subject matter. But less I guess mainstream popular books on kind of Holocaust related stuff. It focuses more on the whole banality of evil stuff and how ordinary men can be built into monsters, but also how ordinary seeming men were always monsters. They were just given a chance, permission, justification to be the monsters that they were always. They always were. Anyway, I know I went on a tangent, but I guess the tragedy of it all is that so many of these people that people just hold to such high regard are going to be two things generally. And this is just my generalization, but they could be three things. Just a regular person just trying to do their best. I don't know, maybe that's a third. Or maybe, like I said, I'm just pessimistic about all this stuff. It's just, this is my ballpark. The other third is going to be fragile, sad, damaged, pathetic. And not in a insulting way, just fragile, egoed people that fight tooth and nail to protect that ego. whatever they've constructed. Keep it safe. But I'm talking about the people that get to those highest echelons. And then there's a third category. The worst humankind has to offer. I could spit pretty far, so I used to practice as a kid, like aim for shit. So I definitely trust people way less than as far as I could spit. I think that's how the saying goes. Yeah. So yeah. Like, was it psychologically incompetent or whatever, or fragile, just regular person that is just doing the best they can with their life, and sometimes they're doing good things, and just, yeah, just. But I really do think the category of, when we're talking like the highest tiers, the category is just a good guy, good woman, just doing everything they can for their dream and what they care about, and they just happen to, like, through thick and thin, they worked so hard and they got to the top, and they're just super humble, and they don't really even care about all the attention and millions and billions of dollars they have, and influence, and they want to use any influence they have, in a very, like, modest and thoughtful way, mindful way. I think that's, like, if we're talking the highest, I think that's like a third. I don't know why I said a third. It's probably like a 10th or a 9th. Crazy. Anyway, have fun with your nightly black pill I just fed you. But it doesn't actually make me feel like I want to give up. It makes me angry. And I'm starting to see other people getting angry. Even if they get angry for reasons I don't quite vibe with. I'm just happy they're getting angry. Because it used to be, before the internet, it used to be that if a person of, this level of stuff, that there was like a fucking pathetic tantrum that has, like, an impact of some kind sometimes, or just whatever, that it would just be hearsay, and then nobody would believe it. Now that you've given a platform in which they can record themselves, put themselves, not just show their buddies, not just show a handful of people in a concert hall, but the world. They're like, it's kind of nice to see some of them hang themselves by their own rope. Like, to see the hubris on display, and then, like, watching Icarus just crash. It's pretty great. I think I would say that's one of the few types of schadenfreude I might be guilty of. Instead of, like, flying to the sun, why don't you try flying to a viable planet? Well, no, it's got to be the sun, right? It's the brightest thing. It's the biggest, strongest, brightest thing in our solar system. That's what you should be flying to. No. Don't fly toward the sun. Shit's stupid. Go find a Goldilocks planet or something. Go check that one out. Go fly there. This is a metaphor, obviously not literally. No one's gonna fly at the fucking sun. Alright. I think, what far corner of Amazon do you have to go to find that normal person? Everyone in the first world is deranged, disillusioned, or infantilized in some way by default. I met plenty of people. Maybe you're one of them, Don. Maybe you're a good guy. Because you seem to be just as happy about the state of the world as many others. Maybe you're just one of those guys just trying to do his best with what he has. The cards he was dealt. Build your own ethical, moral framework and try to live by it. It's good enough. But fortunately, it's not good enough to do something about the kind of overall situation, right, we find ourselves in. I know, like, it's not just, like, this kind of goes back to, like, anyway, that's a different subject. That's a different subject entirely. One of my other favorite subjects that is, like, just what I found out, like, through my disillusionment of academia was sort of like, just because you're a PhD or a professional at a certain, like, topic doesn't mean that you won't make the mistakes that the people that you literally studied their mistakes make. It's funny. Like, oh, I'm an expert at this person. I know everything about what they did. What went right and what went wrong. Then we give them the chance, they'll just go ahead and do the same thing. Crazy. Crazy. Alright, guys. Hey, but for real, if you can send me a few bucks to help out, I know I'm e-begging, but I appreciate it. Keeps the lights on. Now, I'm not talking about the literal lights. I think we might get to keep that. That's fine. But the lights on up here, because there's nothing I hate more than stressing out about shit I detest, hate, dislike vehemently. I don't like my mind being preoccupied by things like little bits and pieces of fucking green paper. Cancerous. So if you want to share some of that cancer this way, I'll go ahead and eat it, because I have to. Okay. In any case, thanks a lot. Check out my streams. Today was just a really, like, somber one. They're not always like that, but I'm getting better at not letting this stuff throw me into a depressive spiral that just makes me, like, despondent. So that's good. That's an improvement. Maybe that's the Vyvanse. Maybe the Vyvanse is helping with that, and the Wellbutrin, and the Prozac, and the occasional propanol. But and Rolando. All right, guys. Peace out. And as usual, when day is dark, always remember, happy day. You're welcome, Duck. Thanks for showing up all the time.